People are not stuck in chronic pain. People are lost in chronic pain. You've noted it's a navigation issue. And so I think what would be kind of cool is to have you kind of speak on it a little more, but also maybe describe what that feeling lost may feel like to people, but also maybe even your own experience, because I mean, you building Align was a part of that experience too, right?
I spent 12 years in severe chronic pain, opiates for 10 of those years, under the skin morphine pump, pain pump.
Wait, hold on, under the skin, what is that?
It's just a little drip.
It's like a drip, okay.
Yeah. And 4 surgeries, most of my lumbar spine is fused. I mean, just more physical therapy, chiropractic, massage.
And you should share how that happened.
Yeah. PE class in high school was doing a back squat and broke my back in 3 places, tore a disc, had nerve damage out of my L5, S1 nerve root. Just created a mess. But it took 12 years to fix it. If I would have come to me now, it would have taken me 12 to 18 months to fix it. So I spent 12 years in pain because I didn't know how to navigate it.
Yeah.
When in reality, I needed to spend 12 months in that pain.
So describe what feeling lost for 12 years feels like.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough.
That's what some people are dealing with coming in, right?
Yeah, 100%. It just feels like loss and like suffocation. All of the things that make you who you are get stripped away in chronic pain. And statistically, they found out that the likelihood that you will be depressed while in pain is directly correlated to how many activities that you love were lost.
Whoa. So like passions, hobbies.
Because those things, whether we want to admit it or not, they make us who we are. They're part of our identity.
Yep.
And they bring us joy. And when those things are stripped away, there's a real loss to that. And so when people are going through pain, it starts out like, okay, well, I can't do that as often, right? And then it gets worse, and they're like, I can't do that anymore. I can't golf anymore. I can't go out and garden, and I can't, pick up my kids, and I can't, these things are real losses because they make up who we envision ourselves to be, right? And so you feel lost, and you just feel suffocated, and you don't know if you're ever going to get out of this hell. And it's terrible.
Yeah.
And then you go to well-meaning professionals, massage therapist, chiropractor, surgeon, and they're all looking through the keyhole of their specialty, right? And so a massage therapist is going to find tight muscles to work on, inevitably, right? The chiropractor is going to find things that are out that need to be put back in. The surgeon is going to look at it from the perspective of, is there something for me to surgically fix here, right? But nobody's looking at it from the big puzzle. Nobody's looking at the whole picture, because the thing about pain is that it is, I don't want to stray too far from your original question, but the thing about pain is that it can have 30 different causes.
Right.
Okay, and so you can have one pain experience, pain, ow, back, right? But it could have a driver in my dysfunctional big toe,
Right.
my weak ankle, okay, my unstable pelvis. That could start to cause degeneration in my low back, and so now I have some degenerative disc disease, I have some bone spurring, so now I'm up to like 5, 6 problems, right? Now I've been in pain for 3 months, 6 months, and so now my peripheral nervous system, okay, my spinal cord and all the things that attach to my spinal cord are starting to get sensitized, and they're starting to memorize that pain pattern. Once you've been in pain for a while, your nervous system memorizes that pain pattern, and even if the original problem is removed, that pain pattern is memorized and you will stay hurting.
What?
Okay, so now you have 7 issues, a memorized pain pattern that even if you fix all that stuff, the pain's still going to be there. And then you've been sensitizing your parietal lobe and your midbrain, which is where all those pain signals are getting routed and interpreted. And now those can become memorized pain patterns. Now you remove the actual problem, you still have a memorized pain pattern in your brain, in your peripheral nervous system. It's just a mess. You can have 20, 30 different things going on that are all driving to this one experience of pain, and you go to a specialist and they're looking at it through a keyhole and they're going, yeah, well, I can help with this. I know what's wrong with it. Pain is an enigma wrapped in a paradox shoved down to the bottom of the ocean. It's so deep and dark, and so the only way to attack it is to address all fronts at once, because you don't know which one it is. Is it a memorized pain pathway? Is it linked to depression? Is it biomechanical dysfunction? Is it the degeneration itself?
Right.
When I look at someone, I have no idea.
Every time it's like,
Every single time. I mean, I can. You
probably
do it
have seen
long
some
enough where
trends.
you're like, okay, you can put a hypothesis forward
Sure.
and then test that.
Right.
Right. But you don't know how big of a driver inflammation is in that.
Right.
Right. And so that's why when people come and work with us, we try to take as high level of a picture as possible so that we can look for joint dysfunction problems. We can look for degenerative problems. We can look for inflammatory problems. We can look for nervous system problems. We can look at the entire picture and go, okay, of the 30 possible problems that could be driving this, we're going to address 25 of those right out of the gate, and let's see what happens.
Gotcha.
Usually we bring people's pain down dramatically. Okay, but then if something is left and we've got all those things taken care of, by process of elimination, there's only 4 things that it can be at that point. And so rather than it being an enigma wrapped in a paradox down at the bottom of the ocean, you've created clarity because
Right.
you've laid all the cards out on the table, you've swiped off 25 of them and like, there's only a few left. Let's test it.
Yes.
And then we go after those. And it takes about 6 months to a year to go through that process, but at least there's a process.
Yeah. Well,
because people stay in pain, like everybody up on our story wall, they're all 20-year deep into their chronic pain stories. And it took us 6 to 12 months to get them out.
yeah.
And so if they would have started at year 1, their chronic pain story would have been 2 years. It's a navigation issue. And so you can spend your entire life wandering in circles, never actually swiping any of those variables off the table and seeking clarity. Okay, which is ultimately what getting a cortisone injection and treating the symptoms and taking an ibuprofen is. You're not testing anything, you're just trying to make your stay in that confusion a little more bearable.
That's a good way to put it.
Because you're not
Yeah.
actually solving anything, you're
Yeah.
not actually gaining any more clarity.
Yeah.
You're not taking any of the cards off the table as to what the problem could be. That's the whole thing, is how can we test and learn as fast as possible to eliminate as many possible problems as we can. That's the whole game with chronic pain. It's always a navigation issue. People feel stuck. They're not stuck. They're lost 100% of the time.
And just to reiterate, I mean, what's going on here is you guys are navigating pain from that level. It's like, let's start somewhere. Let's get things neutralized. Let's put you on a map and in a course to like figure out what this is, which is what people don't have most times. You know what I mean? And to go back to the whole like specialty thing, it's like if I'm going to someone just to see if this bone is out, it's like that's not quite the full picture. Or an opportunity to try something else in order to find out why that's happening.
Yeah, because even if you go to your surgeon and they take an MRI and they find a degeneration, a problem, right? They find a degenerative pattern. You have a bone spur, you have a degenerative disc, you have a bulging disc, whatever it is, right? And they say, well, we can do surgery on this. What they're not telling you is we don't know what percentage of this is the actual problem. Is it 30% of the problem?
Right.
Is it 50% of the problem?
And why wouldn't they know? Just from not being like they don't know you, right? They don't know what you've gone through. They don't know how your body's reacting.
The surgeons?
Yeah. How do they not, how do they not know the percentage of where that thing is actually coming from?
Because nobody knows. Yeah. Because it could be 30 different problems, and all they're trained to do is look at it and go, is that surgical? Is that something that should be fixed? Okay, so they're looking at it from a structure standpoint, not from a pain standpoint. Because pain problems are the enigma wrapped in a paradox at the bottom of the ocean. They're confusing and dark and murky. Surgeons don't go down that route. They go, is there something structural that I can fix?
Oh.
I don't know what's going to happen to your pain. I can make an educated guess, okay?
Based on the structure part.
Based on the structure part, but those two things are only loosely correlated. And so I can fix this, right? But here's the thing, is why did that degenerative condition start in the first place? Because of all the other problems that are driving the pain problem. And so you have 7 problems below that. You have your immobile big toe, your unstable ankle, your unstable pelvis, all shoving load up into your low back. Your low back then has a degenerative condition. Okay, your surgeon looks at it and goes, oh, you have a degenerative condition, we can fix that. They're not telling you, we can fix this, but ... you've got 7 other issues below it that actually created this problem. So when we fix this, we're putting a Band-Aid on it because those other 7 problems are just going to destroy the structure again.
Oh, man.
And so to zoom back out,
Yep.
it's like some people may need a surgery in their journey, right?
Yeah.
But you have to step back, look at the big picture, look at the collective joint dysfunction, look at the degeneration, look at the immune and the nervous system, look at the lifestyle. What are the big drivers there? Let's start to create a path to navigate through this confusion and create a hypothesis, test and learn as quickly as possible so we can eliminate what the possible problems are as quickly as we can.
Right. Yes. And that is a part of the way you guys approach chronic pain here.
Yep.
I like it. Just to, because I don't want to lose this train of thought, the piece about kind of your story, it'd be cool for you to kind of finish that, like, okay, so you were in pain for this long. How did that turn into a line? How did that transition?
Yeah.
Blur the line.
Yeah, so I had 2 discectomies. I had 20 cortisone injections, just all sorts of stuff. None of it was needed. None of it actually solved anything. The one surgery that I did actually need was the 3-level spinal fusion. Okay. They stabilized the unstable vertebrae.
Cool.
Okay. So when they fused down into my SI joint, down into my hips, my SI joint got unstable. And so I was still on a cane for 2 years after my surgery, still on opiates. So it looks like another failed back surgery, right? But from then what I realized was, okay, they wanted to fuse my SI joint, but now we're chasing fusions with fusions. Not a good strategy.
Okay, why? I don't quite know.
Okay, so when you fuse a joint, okay, so the vertebrae, let's come over here.
Cool.
Every segment of your spine moves a little bit.
Right.
Okay, and collectively that makes for a lot of movement. Okay, because you get about 3 to 5 degrees of movement from every single segment.
Cool.
Okay, when you fuse a vertebrae, what you're doing is you're taking out the disc. They go in with like hedge clipper things and rip it out. Okay. There's a spinal cord in here too that they need to be careful with. I applaud neurosurgeons. They do great work, usually. So they take out the disc. In my case, they put in a cage. Okay. And they put screws, 2 up, 2 down. And basically what they do, and then they put bone growth material in there. And so they screw these 2 vertebrae together, and then the bone growth grows out around it and makes it 1 vertebrae. It turns 2 vertebrae into 1 vertebrae.
Gotcha.
Okay, and so there's no motion through here.
Because the disc is gone.
Because the disc is gone.
Yep.
Okay, so what happens when you remove motion from one segment is the areas above and below it are forced to do the movement
Of
the area that's no longer moving. So you
Gotcha.
compensate and shove load, stress, and friction above and below that joint.
okay.
And then those areas tend to wear out faster.
Yep.
So then you just end up with cascading surgeries. Okay? And so that's where I was at. They fused all this. Okay?
Wait, you started having more discs. Your disc things break down.
They fused all the way down into my SI joint, into here.
Okay.
Okay? And so because this wasn't moving, this got unstable. And so my hips started slipping around on my spine, and it was an unstable situation. And so they said, well, we can fuse your hips to your spine, but now we're just chasing fusions with fusions.
Yeah.
okay?
When does that end?
When does that end?
Yeah.
100%. And so what I did was I went to work on fixing now what was left, which was really joint dysfunction, an instability pattern. And that's how Align was born. That's what we do for people. We fix joint dysfunction. We help them navigate through chronic pain. And so it was getting off of opiates. It was regulating my nervous system, getting inflammation down with nutrition, all that kind of stuff, and just learning how to navigate chronic pain.